Since ancient times, mankind has had an enormous fascination for life after death. Places like paradise or hell are part of the imaginations of the most diverse cultures and take many different forms. The world of the dead, also known as the Underworld, is usually governed by a powerful figure who rules over this territory. In today's video, we reveal these powerful figures from the most diverse cultures. When we think of the Underworld, Hades is probably one of the first names that pop up in our minds. The powerful ruler of the Greek world of the dead was not born for this role. He was chosen by lot to take charge of this task. Zeus, Poseidon, and Hades shared the world, and by luck, Zeus came to reign over the heavens, Poseidon over the seas, and Hades over the underworld. Hades came to rule the kingdom where the souls of those who perished were sent, and according to his acts in life, he was judged by the three hellish judges, Aetius, Minos, and Rhadamanthus. Hades granted the judge's decision, taking the souls of newcomers to their fate. The kingdom of Hades was divided into main regions. Tartarus was the place where the great sinners and criminals went, suffering terrible punishments. The Asphodel Meadows were the place of residence of most men and women, people with mediocre lives. They had not committed major crimes, but they had not had major achievements either, and were destined to be forgotten. And there was also the Elysian Fields, the Greek paradise. The souls of the great heroes and kings of the past inhabited this place, in addition to the people who lived an honorable life, guided by the values of justice. Contrary to what many think, Hades, despite having a dark and frightening personality, was not an evil figure. His actions were wise and just. At various times, the god showed himself to be benevolent and merciful. But to gain access to the kingdom of Hades, the body of the deceased had to go through the funeral rituals. Upon arriving at the banks of the river Acheron, the soul of the newcomer would have to have in his possession the payment to be collected by Charon the boatman, responsible for crossing the River of Souls. Without this payment, the spirit of the condemned would drift on the banks of the Hell River for 100 years, until he could reach the other bank. Together with his wife Persephone, Hades had as his sole objective to preserve the order established by the Olympic gods. The cycle of life and death was one of the fundamental elements to maintain the current order. Everyone who knows the basics of Nordic mythology has heard of Valhalla, which all Nordic warriors aspire to. But access to this Nordic paradise was allowed only to the bravest warriors who had a worthy death in battle. The others were taken to Helheim, the realm of the dead of Nordic mythology. The Queen of Helheim was Hel, a sinister figure. Half of her body seemed to be decaying, making her presence frightening. She was the daughter of Loki, the god of deceitfulness, with Jotun Angbora, who was also the sister of Fenrir and Jormungandr. The kingdom of Hel was traditionally not a punishing place. It received people who died a natural, accidental death or one caused by old age. And because they did not have a glorious death, they could not reach Valhalla. Like Hades, Hel was not an evil figure. She just did her job, following Odin's orders. The evil image of Hel is due to the Christian influence in the Nordic texts. The Shinto myths of Japan also have their underworld divinity, Izanami. The goddess was the ruler of Yomi, the world of the dead of the ancient Japanese religion. This is a dark and frightening place where the spirits went after death. The goddess Izanami herself went to Yomi after an unsuccessful delivery. Her husband tried to rescue her from the dead, but her attachment to the underworld was unbreakable. Yomi was a place full of decaying creatures, like her own goddess, who had once been the most beautiful. In order not to allow these rotten creatures to escape from the underworld, Izanagi blocked the exit from the realm of the dead with a large stone. Ancient Egypt is famous for its attention to the afterlife, where Lord of the Egyptian underworld had an enormous prominence. His name is Osiris. The god ruled Egypt until he was assassinated by his brother Set. With the help of Anubis, the goddess Isis, Osiris's wife, resurrected him. He returned as lord of the Egyptian underworld. To have a quiet journey to Duat, the name given to the Egyptian underworld and kingdom of Osiris, it was necessary for the newcomer to have gone through the funeral rituals. In the Duat, the heart of the deceased was placed by Anubis on one side of a scale. On the other was placed the feather of Mat, the goddess of justice. If the heart was heavier than the feather, it meant that the person had committed many crimes and sins. Thus, he would be sent to Amit, a hybrid and horrifying creature who would devour the heart and soul of the wretched person forever. It was a second death. If the heart had the same weight as the feather, the spirit of the deceased was deemed pure. Therefore, he could continue his journey towards the kingdom of Osiris to Aru, the Egyptian paradise. During the night, Osiris is visited by the god Ra in his sunboat. He crosses the whole kingdom of the god and encounters the snake Apophis, who tries to devour him. After the end of the journey, Ra gives birth to a new day, with the blessing of the Lord of the Underworld. Christianity also has a place in the depths of the earth, under the yoke of an evil figure. This Christian underworld is known as Hell, whose sovereign is the devil. This sinister place is the dwelling place of sinful souls, where they will spend eternity suffering terrible torments. Our current image of hell has become popular with Dante Alighieri's The Divine Comedy. According to this work, Satan is in the 9th circle of hell, where he lives his days tormenting the souls of the most terrible sinners. According to some traditions, Satan was once known as Lucifer, the most brilliant angelic figure. But because of his pride, he defied the Lord and provoked a rebellion. He was thrown to hell, together with the other fallen angels. The beautiful Lucifer became the hideous Satan. To avoid an encounter with the beast, the Christian must follow the teachings of Jesus. In this way, he will reach paradise at the Creator's side. In other cultures, there is a Lord of the Underworld. This proves that the idea of a kingdom where the dead go is universal. But the will of human beings to postpone this inevitable encounter as long as possible is also widespread.